Gas up the Jeep, it's good to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. The highway is long, the wheels turning round. Pack up the cook stove and the bowls. Arlo and I, we hit the open road. Arlo and I are on the road.
Hey everybody, I'm back in the kitchen again today, and today is a recipe that I'm going to be doing that's actually going to be part 2 of a video that I created last year, and that video was called Preserved Mandarin Oranges, in which I went to my neighbor's house. Thank you again, John and Elisa, and that let me come over and raid their Mandarin orange tree. And what I did is I took those Mandarin oranges and I packed them in salt, and I created preserved Mandarin oranges. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to that video at the end of this video so you can watch how I prepared the preserved Mandarin oranges. I did it the same way that you would preserved lemons. Some of those right here. And what I like to do is once I make my preserved lemons or preserved oranges, what I like to do is I clean them up and then I put them in separate little baggies like this, so that I can put them in the freezer and I can pull out a little bit at a time, and I can use them for dishes just like this. And the dish we're going to make today really is sort of a Moroccan style stew, which is called a tagine, which is usually cooked in a pot which has a conical lid, which is actually called a tagine. And really any kind of stew that is cooked inside of that pot is called a tagine. But in general, we think of the Moroccan style tagine as chicken or lamb, and that's cooked with saffron and onions and potatoes and oftentimes dried fruit like apricots or prunes or things like that. So that's exactly what we're going to be making today. They also have olives often in a tagine, and these are olives that I picked from my tree in my front yard, and I brined them, and these are super delicious. So really this dish is really sort of a really local dish that I created from ingredients. A lot of the ingredients coming from my neighborhood right here. The olives from my tree, the Mandarin oranges from my neighbor's yard. The olive oil that I'm using today is from the trees in my front yard. So this is kind of fun to kind of do sort of urban foraging and create some of these really almost exotic ingredients from things that you have right around your house. So really, I'm going to show you what I have to work with today, and then we'll get started. So we're going to start with some chicken thighs and chicken legs. These are a great part of the chicken to use because they stay moist within a stew. Of course, I have those olives that I mentioned. We have some onion, I have some potato, and some tomato. Now here is some of those preserved Mandarin oranges that I made. I have some chopped cilantro and chopped parsley. I have some saffron, which I have in some little bit of warm water. Some spices. This is paprika, ginger, cumin, and turmeric. Then I also have some more of those preserved Mandarin oranges, some fresh garlic, or fresh olive oil. Now, instead of the tagine, which I don't have, I'm using this sort of French style cocotte, and it is going to do a similar thing where it's going to allow those liquids to kind of steam up and then drip back down onto the stew. And it's going to be close, but it's not going to be exactly the same as it would be if you used a tagine. Okay, so the first step really is to get our chicken marinated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add those spices. Like I said, there's paprika, turmeric, cumin, and ginger. We'll put those on there. This is chopped cilantro and parsley. We'll put most of that in there. I'm going to put some of our chopped up preserved Mandarin orange. Let's see, some garlic. I have 2 cloves of garlic, which I'm going to use this garlic press. Get that in there. Just like that. that one garlic clove was large, so I cut it in half. And then we'll take all of this, get this into our stew, or into our marinade. Now to this as well, I'm going to use a good amount of olive oil. To create our marinade. Okay, and then some of our saffron water that we have. I'm not going to use quite all of it right now. And then don't be afraid just to get in here and work this all around and get all those flavors into the chicken. And then we're just going to let this sit while we get started. The best way to do this would probably be to let it sit for a couple hours, an hour or two, to get all that nice marinade in there. All right, but for this video, we are going to pretend that we let this sit for a couple hours, and we're just going to move on to the next step. All right, now at the stove, we're going to start our tagine. So what we're going to do is we have our pot on the heat, and then I'm going to add a generous amount of olive oil once again. And then I'm going to add all of our sliced onions. This is one onion sliced. Okay, and then I'm going to add my potatoes. Sometimes you see the potatoes put in after the chicken, but I kind of like to put them in down at the bottom so they can kind of get, caramelized with those onions. And then we're going to add our chicken. So I have some thighs, a couple thighs, and then some chicken legs there. Okay, just like that. And then I want to make sure that I put all the rest of my marinade right in there. So really what we're doing is kind of layering all of these ingredients on top of our onions. So we have our onions, our potatoes, now our chicken with the marinade. I'm going to add our tomatoes. Of course, and then the juice. And then I have some of those beautiful olives. I'm going to put a bunch of those in there that I made, like I said, from the trees in my front yard, which I'm super proud of these. These came out so good. And I'll put a link to this video as well. Okay, just like that. Look at that. Look how pretty that looks already. Now, I'm also going to add some fresh Mandarin Orange juice to this, just to kind of carry through on those Mandarin Orange, preserved Mandarin Orange flavors. This will also add a little bit of sweetness to this, as if we did put some dried fruit in here, but I'm choosing not to use dried fruit today because I want to use a little bit of this fresh Mandarin Orange juice, like that. And then I'm also going to just go ahead and put the rest of my saffron water in there as well. And now we're just going to put the lid on, and now we wait. All right, now it's only been about 5 minutes, but I wanted to bring you back here really quickly, and you can see that it's starting to come up to a simmer, and I wanted to add some fresh ground black pepper to this, which I forgot to put in my marinade. Okay, but look at those nice rich colors, and the smell from this is just incredible. I can really smell garlic and that preserved Mandarin Orange, and I can really smell that cumin coming out of there. All right, we're going to put the lid on, and we're going to let this simmer for just a little bit over an hour. Okay, now it's been about an hour, and our tagine is looking really pretty there. Look at all those nice colors there, and you can see how much juice has come up out of this. And because we're using more of an airtight pot than we would like in a traditional tagine, we might have a little bit more reduction, but that's exactly what we're going to do now. I'm going to add some of these preserved Mandarin Orange sort of petals of the skin, just to make this look nice and pretty. And then I'm going to let this simmer again for a little while, and we're going to reduce some of those juices down so it's not quite as soupy like this. So we're just going to wait a little bit while this reduces, and then we'll be ready to try it out. Okay, there it is. Now we let our tagine simmer for another half an hour, and you can see the sauce is really reduced and thickened up, and that's exactly what we want. So now we're going to take it to the table and we're going to try it out. The whole house just smells like chicken and cumin and that preserved citrus. Oh, it just smells so good. The garlic, the olives, all that. So the last thing I'm going to do before I serve it is I'm going to put just a little more parsley on top just for color, and that's it. That is our chicken and preserved Mandarin Orange tagine. All right, let's serve a little bit of this up. Get one of those nice thighs. And then make sure I get down below, we have those onions and potatoes. There's a nice potato there. Just like that. That looks good. There's still quite a bit of sauce in here, which is nice. It's going to be great because we're going to be serving this with bread. Let's see, I'm going to get an olive. Make sure I have some olives in there. Okay, that looks really nice. All right, so there it is. There is our chicken and preserved Mandarin Orange tagine with Mandarin oranges that we collected in our neighbor's yard, olives, which I collected and brined from my own yard, as well as the olive oil that we used in this dish is made from the trees in my yard. So a beautiful locally sourced kind of exotic Moroccan style chicken stew. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the tagine really is the name of the cooking pot, that conical clay, earthenware type pot that you see. Now, of course, like I said, I don't own a actual tagine itself, so we did cook it in the Dutch oven. So maybe we'll call it a Moroccan style chicken stew. Yeah. Now this can be served in many different ways. You can eat it just like this. Sometimes it's served with rice. Sometimes it's served with couscous. Sometimes it's served with beans. Of course, today I'm going to be using some nice fresh crusty bread, which I have here, which I'm just going to rip a nice piece off, and I'm going to use that to dig in here. So I'm going to use my fork so I don't make a big mess, and then soak up some of this juice. Look at that. That looks so good. The first flavor that I'm getting is from that preserved Mandarin Orange. The really perfumey, floral kind of flavor and aroma. And then after that, the saffron, the garlic, all those other spices and complex flavors in here. This is a very, very simple rustic dish, but it's very, very complex and very, very delicious and easy to make. Try those potatoes. Delicious, tender, so good. Here's one of my olives. I didn't pit them, but if you use pitted olives, it's a lot easier to eat. Oh, that is so good. I don't even know what to eat. I like chicken. Wow. And the bread is the key to this too. To have something to soak up all that nice sauce. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is part 2 of the preserved Mandarin Orange video that I made, and I will attach that video to the end of this video, and also attach the video where I made the olives that I made from the yard. So anyway, I thank you so much for following along with this recipe. If you like this video, please please subscribe. That always helps us a lot, and we will see you in the next one.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
it's fun to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. Arlo and I, we hit the open road. Arlo and I on the road.
So good.